All right, so for today's market updates, we're going to basically do an open Q&A for about an hour, and you just ask whatever questions you have on any markets. And if I'm not, there's a lot of markets happening right now, right? So it's hard to keep on track of everything. There's like new ICOs every day, new coins hitting the exchanges all the time, right? It's like a whirlwind. One could spend, definitely a full-time job just doing research on all these markets, right? And I do end up doing a lot of research. So we'll mix this up. We'll do some technical and some fundamental analysis. So basically, someone had asked about SOM. So first thing I'll do, so the chart looks interesting. So the first thing I'll do is I want to know what the heck it is. So the first thing I do is I go to CoinMarketCap. It's just basically my process when I look at new coins. Pretty simple process. What is it? SNM. Okay. Pre-launch. Don't know what the market cap is. Don't know what the supply is. New market since June. Look at the announcement. Bitcoin Talk. They always have announcement threads. What? Sorry. I just find a funny fog computer. Okay. SOM is a decentralized worldwide fog computer for any general purpose computing, from site hosting to scientific calculations. The purpose of SOM is to replace hash-based traditional cryptocurrency mining, which now dominates the blockchain community. So that's interesting. So I did they have an ICO? Buyers of computing, cost effective. Da 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 da. There'll be an ICO, pre-ICO, pre-sale. Interesting. So it's like another Golem competitor essentially, right? Which is also similar to another market we had bought lately. So now we've got like three Golem competitors, right? Has gold to couple, biotechnology and Ethereum smart contracts and blockchain technology. Okay. Interesting enough. I don't know what the supply or anything is. I guess it's a pre-market. Hard to make a determination when you don't know what the market cap and supply is, which is kind of important details. So it could be like a real steal right now as far as price is concerned. From a technical level, it's fairly new. It just hit the market and price discovery. If I look at the 1D, it's like 4 days in. Could see an interesting little bounce. I would just look at this. There's not a lot of TA to go on. So I would, say, oh, look, could make a higher low. But mostly like when I look at new projects that don't have a lot of TA, like Edgeless, for example, didn't have a lot of TA, probably something very similar boat. Um, I just looked at the market cap and I looked at the project and I saw, hey, market cap's low, looks cheap, looks like an interesting enough project. I think I'll scoop some up. The rest is history. I'll just give you an example what that looks like. I mean, many of you already seen this a billion times. So that's why I wanted to do a Q&A to try to keep things fresh. No point just always talking about the bags that I'm just riding for 3 months, right? Not a clone works in a different way. So we're getting some input in the room. Yeah, like it looks like it looks like okay, so to get more cost effective, some has hybrid architecture and therefore supports any kind of computational tasks without facing Ethereum's out of gas problem. From a technical point of view, some has a top layer of underlying P2P technology, BitTorrent for data transfer, modified P2P to decentralized computing, Ethereum smart contracts as a proof of execution, consensus system. Right? So if you really want to dive in, you got to read the white paper. Right? So, you click on the white paper and then they're going to give you a long, and you could honestly, you could spend weeks just reading white papers, right? As to how many of these white papers will just be vaporware and how many are legit, is another whole other story. But interesting looking white paper. So this project is definitely interesting, right? I would mark this down for myself as needs some more research. Right? I won't do all the research here in the room, but because that could take up the full hour. So that's definitely a market of interest. Mist. We have another request for Mist. Okay, let me see what the ticker is. Oops, one sec. Oh yeah, it's with the Y. My bad. Mysterium. All right, so at least now we can see market cap and supply, right? So let's see what markets it's on. It's on Bitrex. Circulating supply, so a little over half is in circulation. Another new project, probably an ICO project, I'm presuming. Just look at the announcement thread. It's network to build blockchain-based VPN secure anonymous internet connection. Okay, that's interesting. Mysterious is building decentralized virtual private network that anyone can use to connect securely anonymously to the internet. The system is also designed so that users who share their space bandwidth to the network will be able to earn digital currency and reward. The Mystera platform will operate via the native Mist token, so on and so forth, right? And another thing I'll do when I look at the fundamentals is, I'll actually look through the threads and I'll see if there's any criticisms, right? Like there are several really interesting criticisms with Bancor, for example, right? There's criticisms about them raising too much money or removing their cap, but then some developers have audited the code recently, and they actually have some, I guess they have the ability to create reversible transactions in their code, which doesn't really, then you got to ask yourself, well, what's the point of having it on a blockchain if it's not immutable, right? It's because blockchains are actually very inefficient as far as networks are concerned. They're definitely not the most efficient means of doing business. Centralized models are definitely more efficient. They're quicker and they're less resource intensive. So the whole purpose of a blockchain, and I think people kind of forget this point entirely. Maybe the hard fork last year kind of tried to redefine what blockchains are all about, but the whole point is they're supposed to be immutable, that you can't change the ledger, right? That was the whole point of Bitcoin. Irreversible transactions. You lose it, too bad. It's over, right? It looks like we could have like a little bit of a double bottom. Let's see what that looks like on Btrex. Btrex, typical ugly price discovery candle. And then who knows, this could break down. So there's not enough data. So let's see like what it is in market cap. So at 42 million in market cap, basically puts it at 73. So, you know, it's definitely a mid cap. It's definitely cheap, right? The other one, I have no idea where it is in market cap. I think I guess it's pre-market, maybe. It says it's like a pre-launch mark token. Oh, Edgeless is doing really nice. This one's one of those mid caps that's really starting to bear some fruit. So I just want to peek at that again. It's like music to my eyes. Music to my eyes. Art from my eyes, music to my ears. Let's just look at that dollar value again. It looks like it's breaking out too. But, you know, I bought the bottom, so the only cheaper price probably would have been the ICO price, but I didn't have to chase everyone in the rat race. I still got to make money. See, this is a beautiful thing, right? You buy some cheap market caps, you're patient. You know, a lot of these new ones, you know, if you're patient, you know, dollar-wise, you can make some serious coin, and Bitcoin-wise as well. All right, so that's Mysterium. So that looks interesting as well. Now, this I'll tell you one thing. This project, and we might start the marketing in a couple of weeks, but there is a project that I have been helping out behind the scenes on with this rockstar hacker who's, you know, friends with Kim Dotcom and you know, basically very, very big in the hacking world or community. And it's not vaporware. That he's doing an ICO, and you know, Co-Founded's taken that on as a project. It's actually a project that I brought together. I brought them together, you know, because he's been working on this project for like 4 years, right? And it's basically a new type of network that already exists. It's a new type of network. It's super encrypted. It's private. It's not peer-to-peer. It's but it's still decentralized. So it's extremely efficient. It's adaptable, customizable. You know, you can use it. You can use it privately. You can create a public network. And so, you know, I'm linking it. We're tokenizing it, and he's going to do an ICO, and we're going to have a smart contract that's going to, you know, we'll get into all the feed tokens out to people who run nodes on the network and stuff like that. So I'll be able to give like more specific details on who this is and what that project is. But the interesting thing with this project is it's not vaporware. He's already been coding it for 4 years, and there's already working prototypes, right? And it's just going to get better. So I'm extremely excited about this because there's nothing else like it. We actually even invented a new technical terms, you know, just like Satoshi, or actually Satoshi didn't invent the term blockchain, I don't believe, but just like, you know, blockchain was a technical term that was created. This will be a project that will have its new technical terms and such. So it's going to be huge. It's going to be epic. And I'm really excited about that project, predominantly because nobody knows if any of these ICOs that are coming out are actually going to produce anything, right? Most of it right now is just vaporware. Most of it's just ideas in a white paper, right? So this is a project that actually has code. by someone who's an extremely high level proficient developer and hacker, right? So that's why I'm excited about that project, and I'm gonna be in on the ground floor as a OG early adopter, right? So we'll be promoting that project and helping marketing it and stuff like that. So I'll let people know in a few weeks. I just wanted to share that. And the reason why it made me think of this is because all these other projects, they have these nice ideas. They're sharing, they want to do a, decentralized VPN and blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, that's great. And they might have some code as well. I don't know. It looks like, let's see the GitHub. But, there's already testers and stuff like that. So anyways. All right, so that's Mist. Another one to keep on my research list. Potential good buys. Any others? So one interesting question is, do you recommend that rank newbies stay away from ICO? Seems like shiny object syndrome could cost a lot of money. That's an interesting question. A lot of these have actually been popping doubles, right? And have been hitting the market in profit. Not very liquid, but they've started off in profit. Like even CFI, right, is in profit and such. So, I mean, if you can get into an ICO and get the token, even if it's complete vaporware, it doesn't mean you can't make money off of the token. But, there's probably going to be an increase in shysters and scammers and stuff like that, right? So we have another request to look at Swarm City. All right, back to the markets. So let me just scroll up here to see. All right, so IoT. This is a market that a project that actually looks very, very interesting. I looked at it, and Bitfinex is behind it, and Bitfinex is a monster exchange. They're one of the biggest, obviously, and they're behind it. And I guess my hesitation with it and buying was it just started off at such a high market cap. Right? Start up at number 7. And I felt like a 1.4 billion market cap, and it just hit the markets. You know what I mean? So I thought, this looks like a really interesting project, but I wish it was cheaper. Right? I get very hesitant about buying things that start off at the top. Right? It could still grow, but will it keep this market cap if the bubble pops? It was the question. Or maybe it turns into like another Ethereum, maybe it ends up here. Right? So this project I think is definitely very, very interesting. I would like to invest in this project long term. I just kind of have to find a good time to do that. Right? It's kind of like Zcash, I trade Zcash and I'd love to have some long term, but I'm going to do a round of long-term investments like after the bear trend when we hit accumulation again. I'm actually looking forward to that. I mean, it sounds crazy cuz we're in a bubble and we're making fortunes here, but I kind of look forward to another round of accumulation. Now, in the perfect world, we get another bear trend and another accumulation on everything before we hit mainstream adoption, right? Why do I say in the perfect world? Well, for 2 reasons. Number 1, we've got a lot of new people who joined us who are new to crypto, and I want everybody who's new to get a chance of experiencing what it's like to get to accumulate an accumulation dirt cheap and go through a whole market cycle and make and make make fortunes doing that. Because like for people who were with us last year, I mean, we were buying up a lot of this stuff for pennies on the dollar. I mean, we were accumulating Ethereum Classic at $1. We bought Golem at 2 cents. Reaccumulated Ethereum at $10, although I sold a little too late, but I know some people still held on to it. So congrats to anybody who was patient with that. And that's that. I want people to experience a full market cycle, because in my opinion, now is like the worst time to to invest, in my opinion, right? It could still go up, right? Great time to trade. It could still go up higher, but I think it's a terrible time to invest when everything's up. Even Ripple, man, we were accumulating Ripple last year at half a penny. Now everyone's messaging me, oh, should I buy Ripple? It's at 40 cents. I'm like, ugh. It's like, it could go up, but you're also talking to someone who is in it at half a penny, right? Now, again, that I got impatient with that. Some people made a killing off of that. I got impatient because Ripple had this really stupid pattern of flash crashing every time, like basically doing full retraces every time it would look like it'd break out. And we didn't have any good storage solutions, right? Now we have a Ledger Nano. Now you can store a Ledger Nano. Now if Ripple goes back into accumulation, I would gladly reaccumulate and stash those bad boys on a Ledger Nano. But of course, they always do everything too late, right? They give you hardware support after the bubble. Oh, great. After it's gone up like a billion%, right? Not when it's in accumulation. I even tweeted them months ago on Twitter, and I said, are we going to get some hardware wallet support? I can't accumulate this, right? So, because otherwise it just have them sit on an exchange for months. So that was kind of my issue with Ripple. Otherwise, I probably would have been a lot more patient with it. So anyways, whatever. Coulda, shoulda, woulda. Some things I was very patient with, and I'm still riding like Classic and Golem and some gems. So, but it's you don't know you're in a bubble till you're in a bubble, right? So, and then once you realize you're in a bubble, you need to start just hold things until things pop. So yeah, I like this. So this is different than a blockchain. They call this Tangle or whatever, right? So looks very, very interesting. But I guess this project came out in 2015. They came out with the process, and now it just finally hit the exchanges, right? So I would love to invest in some of this, and it could be good for trading. There's some obvious increase in volume here, so maybe I just need to treat this more like a trade. But there's obviously considerable downside risk when you start at the top. You basically have to keep it, right? Whereas when you start at the bottom, there's only one way up, right? I mean, but you start at the top, you got to keep that position and then maybe try to climb up higher. But it's a big enough project, an interesting enough project that it could definitely climb higher, but it's only on one exchange right now too. Right? So that's a single point of failure that you got to realize. It's on Bitfinex, because I think they've gotten involved with it somehow. They were probably involved in the project. But there's no wide distribution. So if Bitfinex just packs up their bags tomorrow, then it won't trade anywhere, and you bag hold it. So that's a single point of failure, right? So that's an issue right there. I don't know what the storage is like for that either. I'd have to look into little details like that, but anyways. So that's IoT. We have a request to look at NEM. Sorry, and if I missed any of your prior requests, No, I didn't. I'm not touching any edgeless. I didn't take any profit off of edgeless. I'm kind of just gunning for 10x, really. Maybe I'm greedy. So new economic, like, are you talking NEM, like new economic movement, like XEM, or are you talking NEM, like whatever the heck this is? XEM, okay. All right. I definitely know it's up higher, but you know, there's could always be some good trades. Poloniex. Well, you know, it's gone up a bunch. Could, you know, so I could see like this generally. All right, we'll close with Bitcoin today. Although actually I made a specific Bitcoin video that I'll send out. So I won't close with Bitcoin today because I made a special 5-minute video that I'll send out on Bitcoin. I just haven't sent it out because I'm doing this, but so this is kind of a descending triangle. So this is typically considered a bearish pattern, right? Because it's making lower highs and it, you know, retests support. And you could also say that there might be like a little head and shoulders here. I personally wouldn't be buying a dip on this myself because of that. It's also got considerable downside risk, and there's also no ability to short this, I don't believe. Now, does that mean it can't recover and go break out? Well, yeah, it can. You know, it could break out of this descending trend line, and it could make another move and maybe larger consolidation pattern, right? But it's definitely not something that I want to buy a dip on, even though it could bounce. It's like this. Like if I don't take a trade in a market, it doesn't mean that the market won't go up. What it means is that I feel like I don't have an edge and it feels more like a coin toss to me. Right? So I just try to stick with setups where I just feel like I have more of an edge than a coin toss. So that's what it means. So if I say, I'm not going to buy it, and then tomorrow it does this, you know, it goes nuts, and you say, oh, Rocky, you said it wasn't a good dip buy, and I say, well, I didn't have an edge in that, right? And then you know, the coin toss flipped in favor of bull, and then went nuts, and I didn't get any, and so I just let it go. Right? So I'm comfortable in letting markets go and not catching everything. I'm definitely comfortable with that. But the reason why is because I've just got some simple trading rules. Now maybe lower breakouts or buying an accumulation, or even possibly like a bigger, you know, like this obviously produced a nice bounce, this little dip right here. But there's just so many markets and a lot of movements. It's very hard to catch everything. And you also have to think about how, you know, your trading capital, how much dry powder do you have sitting on the exchanges for other trades. So I'm actually in a ton of markets right now. And I guess the kind of the annoying thing with all these ICOs, is it's just so many new markets, right? It's so many new things to look at and buy and be on top of, and they just keep on hammering them out. And everybody's got their hat out trying to get some money out of these markets. And I mean, who can blame them? They're raising millions of dollars in seconds, you know, for a white paper. It's ridiculous, right? So who can blame them? I mean, I'm not against them. It's just we're in a bubble. All right. Any other round? Is that a market? Oh, Ants. Okay, yes, Ants. Yes, I remember. Ant shares, right? The prices of the ICOs is definitely reflected in the price of Ethereum. Definitely reflected in the price of Ethereum. Okay, so this is AntShares. It popped off big time. Had a big move. Almost like a 10x, so that's interesting. Big sell-off. And with that sell-off, we had a drop. And in this drop, it hit the 61.8% dump. And this could actually be an interesting bounce play. You know, like if I were to do another kind of like that, and if it were to bounce up to this level, like maybe it touches the 4 area, right? If it touches the 4 area, actually, you know what? I think I'm just gonna go ahead and do a little live trading and buy some of that. Yeah, I'm recording. So yeah, you know, even though this is up like ridiculous price, the way I see it is, you know, there's a possible bounce play here, right? Like it's sold off a lot, right? Anytime something sells off a lot, you know, I could do like a quick target, right? So it possible that made a higher low, kind of cracked down into like between 60 and 71, 61.8 and 78%. So I just bought a little just for a trade. I'm just gonna stack like orders up, you know, maybe like 30 to 40%. I'm not gonna hold it for I'm not holding this like as this isn't like one of my mid caps. I'm just gonna hold this for, you know, months. This is like, you know, maybe a day trade if I can get a fill today, or hold it overnight if I can get a fill. Because I mean, check this out, right? You can get some nice spikes on these bounces, right? Even with markets that are up stupid prices, unless this does a full retrace and turns into a full pump and dump, which is possible, then the rug could always, you know, that's the downside risk, right? You know, so maybe I'll just treat this like a trade. So, you know, there, and you know, if we break the low, you know, maybe could risk like 20% to make like, you know, 40 or something like that. So maybe it's like a 2 to 1 on a bounce player or whatever. I don't think I would bag hold it if it went like that, obviously. So I'm just gonna pre-stack the order book, and if we get a nice little bounce like that, that's it, and I probably won't touch it after that. And if it fails and it doesn't work, I'll probably just cut it. Not a huge size position to manage risk because it's not a super liquid market. So, you know, but it could potentially come up between this area right there. So just want to let people know. One sec. What is that? Oh no, that was 3. See if I can just get a quick little trade out of that. All right, move on. I don't think you can store an app. All right, so what do we have here? Sorry, round. Okay, let's look at round. On Liqui. All right, this, like, from a technical perspective, this looks interesting. It doesn't look very liquid. It looks interesting. I have no idea what it is. You know, but it's possible double bottom. Not super liquid on Liqui, ironically. But let's just take a peek. what the heck it is. All right. Circulating supply is 1 billion. Total supply is 1 billion round. It's kind of higher still mid cap. Oh man. Okay, so this is around in February. Interesting. What markets was it on in February? All Liqui, so it's all on Liqui. Let's just look at the announcement thread. Is this, do you know if this is an Ethereum-based token? Video from last tournament, Twitch TV, app round. We are pleased to announce we have finished working beta version, app round initially, meticulously. So what is it? Is this like a gaming token? Game server looks like a kind of gaming token technology or whatever. How to earn rounds for free. Tournaments. Okay. Twitch. Okay, so it's like this gaming tournament token prizes thing. I think it's probably might be a little bit too niche for my taste. I also have to be a little bit picky. Because there's so many tokens. I could literally, you know, here's one of the problems, right? I like to, when I sell one token for some profit, I like to reinvest some of that profit into another token or some other markets, right? And so recently this week I picked Quantum Resistance Ledger and QRL, right? Because I'd sold some what did I sell? ICN, right? So that for me feels, RLC. RLC, sorry. That for me is in alignment with my strategy. I'm reinvesting profit. I'm not tapping into my Bitcoin reserves and just shoving more Bitcoin in. I'm like, oh, okay, now I've got some more Bitcoin. Well, let's put that into something and see if I can continue this cycle that I've been on for months. But the problem is, and here's the risk, is that if and when the bubble pops, especially the ICO bubble, if you're sitting on like hundreds of ICO tokens and then that bubble pops and you're left holding the bag with a bunch of illiquid, worthless crypto trinkets, well, that's a big risk, right? So that said, so looking at these markets is actually still good though, for a couple of reasons. Just because I don't invest in these, because I'm still riding bags from months ago because I loaded up on all these little crypto trinkets. There's still a lot of new people who have joined us, right? And, I'll tell you, projects like SOM and Mist fall in alignment with my strategy, my mid-cap strategy, and maybe Round, possible. Round is very, very niche, but so is Edgeless, and that seems to be doing all right, right? So is BitCrystals, right? I bought some of that. So you might have missed a boat on some other mid caps that people bought months ago, and if you're new, you could still apply that strategy. So just because I'm not buying it because I feel kind of picky right now, and I'm pretty maxed out on tokens. I just don't know how many more ICO tokens I want to load up on in case the bubble pops type of thing, right? Doesn't mean that you shouldn't, you can't look at these and then load up on them and buy some and apply that strategy. So that's why it's important to definitely do your own diligence, understand the principle behind a strategy, do the strategy, and think for yourself. And, the TA on these new liquid coins is really, really easy. I mean, again, let's go back to Mist. I mean, there is no TA. It's like a new market, and it's cheap, and it's mid-cap, and there you go. Boom. Right? And you can, and if you're not and it hit like a double bottom there, right? So, and I did buy an QRL and RCL this week, right? So, question: what would your top 5 coins for entry from scratch right now? Probably nothing on Poloniex. Because they're up so big. RLC, sorry. I'm losing track of these token names. Seriously, like. Probably the 2 I bought this week. CF5. If I didn't have any, I'd want some of that. That one. Actually, I'm gonna go back to ICN here because I know some people were kind of salty about me advertising that I took profit, and maybe that created a top and maybe it didn't. Yeah, I'll look at CFI. I don't know. I don't know if I have those kind of superpowers. But what I do know is, when people were salty, I said, hey, it looks like a good dip buy. And, mention that in the video. And then some people were able to buy back their ICN tokens even cheaper than where they sold. So if this was a correction and it continues bullishly and you were able to sell and buy back cheaper and it continues and goes up higher, then you're welcome. All right, so let's move on. CFI. And if you dumped your bags at the bottom there, well, that's your problem. Right? And if you couldn't sell because Kraken was buggy, well, then you're kind of getting closer to square one anyways. All right. Yeah, CFI's ramping up. Hit a bottom. Now we get the bounce. It's still like well above ICO price. So, as far as I'm concerned, it's a good pick. And I'm just being patient. I like the project. I like the people. Basically like any project that I actually know the people behind. I know Jan and Daniel now, and the new projects I was talking about. Any project that where I actually know the people, I'm probably more inclined to just hold it longer term as an investment, just to have skin in the game. So, I'm not. Anybody got a quick calculation on the BCC ICO price of CFI? Point 11 cents, 12 cents. So that's all. So I'm probably 4,400 satoshis, right? So that's pretty good. That's not a bad return for an ICO. And I know they're not dumpers, so I know they're not gonna just dump their bags or anything like that. I know a bunch of the tokens are on lockup. And, they gave a bunch of, the supply distribution is not the best. Like, they gave a bunch of tokens to Economy to buy Cashilla for their platform so people can participate in the ICOs with fiat. But, Economy has a fund. And I know Economy is probably just going to put it in their fund, their investment fund, and just hold on to them, right? So it's not like, a lot of these people are in it for the long game. At least the people I know. I don't know about a lot of the other ICO projects. There could just be like some pump and dumpers. That's possible. But, this is like the long game, right? And, just look at Economy. Last year, you could have bought it for 10 cents. I talked about it. And the ICO participated in it. You could buy it for like 5 or 10 cents or whatever. And you could have also dumped it at a loss. And, buy it at 5 or 10 cents. And if you're patient, that's just like $5. It's ridiculous returns. 100x dollar-wise. Pretty good. So, I mean, do I want to sell CFI tokens at 30 cents? Nah, not really. Even if it goes bearish or whatever, that's fine. Why? I also know that they're going to require people wants to participate in their early bird priority pass. They're going to need, I think, 4,000 or 5,000 CFI tokens to be able to participate in the future. That creates market demand, right? It also means that and I know they've got some interesting projects on the pipeline. So, anybody who wants the priority pass, unless you were if you were an early participant, I believe there might be a caveat. I don't know all the exact details, but if you were an early participant, in their ICO, I think you might get a pass, but I don't know. I don't know in the long haul, I think. So basically it incentivizes, like, if you got like 5,000 tokens, it's like an incentive to never sell it. It's that simple. If you want to participate in their future projects that they're bringing to the table. And, they're creating a priority pass system so that these ICOs don't sell out in like 3 seconds, right? Okay, so Polybus. Okay, so I did it hit the market yet, or is it still in the ICO phase? Let's look this up. Probably another ETH-based token. So I would say so far, I'm happy it went up above ICO price. So far, I'd say that was a success. Looking good. And here's another thing. Having a low supply distribution on the open market is only a bad thing if the founders are dumpers. Right? If they're not dumpers, it could actually create more scarcity. But, I mean, obviously, if they start flooding the market or whatever, that wouldn't be good. But if they're in it for the long haul and they're not just dumpers, then, when you raise like $14 million, like, why would you just dump your tokens for a few Bitcoins or whatever, right? All right, so what is this exactly? What are you, Polybus? Polybius? I personally think it's still cheap enough. It's still like a mid cap. Still cheap enough. But that's just my opinion, right? I can't give investment advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Okay, so we've got a bonus. Aim to create a regulated bank for the digital generation. I don't know how I feel about that, but I kind of like the be your own bank. I'm not big. I don't know if we need a crypto bank, but let's see. I'll be open-minded here. It will be a contemporary banking institution with a progressive approach with the support of global banking experts. Polybus appears to be a comprehensive banking solution. Yeah, it has the word bank on. No, scratch. No, I'm just joking. Polybus will combine features of modern banking, IoT, big data, and blockchain technologies. Oh, one sec. I mean, so I'll look at it. I'll look at it both sides, right? I try to stay objective. The crypto, decentralized crypto anarchist part of me is like, we don't really need crypto banks. That's the whole point of crypto and blockchain. But, looking at the other side of the coin, one can say, well, if there was a bank that was, friendly to crypto, then, friendly to crypto, then, maybe that could solve some people's problems. Maybe they wouldn't, freeze your bank account if you're a crypto trader pulling out too much money from Bitcoin or whatever, right? So, but on the other side of the coin, right? If you start getting crypto banks and crypto fiat currencies and stuff, that opens up the Pandora's box for slippery slope for heavy-handed regulations. I have a theory, and I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. My theory is that they're letting everybody play in the playpen right now while the technology is new and experimental, because we're producing open source technology that they can just later use for themselves. So I think they've created a technology like free market free zone, and they haven't come. This is why I don't think the regulators have started beating down on people, right? Because if you allow us, give them a decade to write some code and to experiment and to play around and stuff like that, and to really refine and perfect the technology for free, not going to cost us anything. Let them have their ICOs to fund the thing or whatever. Notice how the SEC hasn't said anything about it. Let them do that. And then once the technology is good enough for us to use and we decide to have our fiat crypto blockchain, then, then we'll just go heavy-handed and make it all illegal and say you can only have a fiat version, and then basically, party's over. We took all your innovation and all your technology and stuff. Now you guys can go to hell, and we control the markets now, right? And now it's perfect, right? We have artificial intelligence, decentralization. We'll create Skynet. Hey, you like technology? Why don't you get a chip in the back of your head or on your arm? And digital identification. Sure, we'll give you digital ID. Sure. And then next thing you know, we'll eliminate cash. We don't like cash. Boom. Next thing you know, we've now got a, global world financial system linked to a blockchain that is controlled by them. No cash left. No anonymity whatsoever. And then you probably have to use your personalized chip and digital ID to be able to participate. I hope I'm wrong, right? But I look at the bigger picture. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened in 10 years. And then Bitcoin and all the decentralized versions basically just get killed or pushed right down to the underground. Like, as in you can participate, but it'll be illegal, right? As in, like, you won't be able to just pull it out and put it in your bank and this and that. I hope I'm wrong. I don't want to go down the road of paranoia here, but, they say only the paranoid survive, right? But, I see the bigger picture on a lot of things, right? I look at the bird's eye view of, and look at possibilities and probabilities. I know that sounds kind of bleak, but I suspect that's kind of what they're doing. And I might even write a blog post on that, because I think that might be interesting. But that's what I suspect. And I really hope I'm wrong, because I love decentralized currencies and blockchains and stuff. And really they could make it a nightmare for people if the states decides that they want to make it illegal. I guarantee you it would spread all around the world. Other countries would follow suit, right? Like, I'll give you an example. I went to go buy some, I went to the city the other day, and I'm digressing a bit, but I went to the city to buy clove cigarettes, Jarums. Right, I don't really smoke, but now and again, if I go out for a party or whatever, maybe I'll buy some clove cigarettes. They didn't sell them. I was like, what? They don't make them anymore? So I looked it up, and apparently Obama said that, they banned all flavored cigarettes. I was like, well, I'm in Canada. What the heck does that have to do with me? Right? Well, apparently apparently if Obama says it or whatever, Trump or US says it, apparently it affects me in Canada here. Apparently now I can't smoke clove cigarettes because someone up there said that, right? So, and think about like other things, right? It spreads. It's a global government, right? The nation states aren't really nationalistic. There's pros and cons to both of this, right? I'm all for I'm all for one world. I'm all for everybody getting along, everybody communicating with each other. I love the internet. I love decentralization. I love blockchain technology. I love the fact that we have a diverse trading room with people from all over the world. I love the fact that we can all come together on the internet, communicate, and share ideas. I love all of that. But I love it in a decentralized way, not in a centralized way. I don't think that there's a lot of value in a centralized one world government. I think it creates a big, massive single point of failure. Now I'm kind of digressing a little bit into politics, and I'm kind of recording this. I usually keep these off the recording, but these are just my opinions, right? You may agree or disagree with me. It's okay. We all have our opinions, and whatever. But that's what I think is happening right now, and I think it's unfortunate, and it would be very unfortunate if that happened. It's like the internet. The internet started off free in the 90s, right? You didn't need anyone's permission for website. Now you gotta register your website with ICANN or whatever, and this and that, and your website could be shut down and yada yada, right? Unfortunately, thank goodness we still have some freedom of speech on the internet, right? Thank goodness we still have freedom of speech on the internet, right? And they haven't shut down that. Thank goodness you don't need like a license to run a website or whatever. Like if you want a radio or TV station, you need a license and stuff, right? So anyways, but there's been attempts to kind of censor the internet or pass draconian regulations. But you know what? The freedom of speech is also a double-edged sword. Maybe they like the freedom of speech because they've got massive surveillance and they want to know what people are thinking and to speak their minds. So you can keep tabs on everything. Anyways, sorry I digress. I don't want to get too political, but hey, this is crypto, right? And the fact of the matter is, if you're new to crypto, you should realize that crypto came from the cypherpunk movement, which is a political movement using cryptography for freedom and privacy, right? And technology for freedom and privacy, and that's what Bitcoin was born out of. So if you don't like those things, then you might be in the wrong industry. It's not just about the money. I love making the money, but it's not just about the money. It's also about the principles of decentralization and freedom as well. Now, I also don't think that, I think with freedom comes responsibility. I also don't think that freedom means that people should be able to do nefarious things and hurt other people. And obviously we need some kind of enforcement to stop violent crimes, right? Emphasis on the word violent crimes, right? So something can be criminal but not immoral, right? Something can be immoral and legal. And there's all kinds of that in the world. There's a lot of extremely immoral things that are completely legal. All kinds of financial shenanigans on Wall Street, or starting wars over nothing that might be legal, but doing it over industry and for commercial interests. So there's a lesson or a line there, or difference. Anyway, so I digress. kind of digressed here a bit. So the video is an hour. So I'm going to stop this video recording.